let's go ahead and get started. Guys, thank you so much, everyone that joined. I really appreciate you guys being here. And I think that attention is one of the things that I find really meaningful. And I'm really grateful that you guys are giving me your time right now to be here and to listen to what I have to say. So my only goal today is to ensure that I deliver so much value and to pour onto you guys today. And please let me know if I do that at the end of the Zoom webinar. My goal is to just give back and share some of the knowledge that I've learned from buying and selling well over 100 and change of transactions, millions of dollars for real estate moved. My goal is to just pour back, and hopefully you guys have some takeaways here today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Sharing my screen here. Share. So let's go ahead and get started. Sales and acquisitions. This is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm not able to see the chat right now, so let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I can see it now. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. I like to go fast. I like to start going through all of my talking points and making sure that I deliver value to you guys. So if you guys get stuck or something isn't clear to you guys, feel free to just stop me and I'll make sure that I go through it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. All right. Who am I? This is actually an outdated presentation, but my team now is 10 people. So I have a little bit about me. For the people that don't know me, I am Josue Llanes. I used to work in oil and gas. I was out working in the fields, and I'm going to say this story every single time. So I'm sorry you guys have to hear it every time, because there's always new people that are watching. But I was out in the oil field. I knew that there was a better way. I was working over 100 hours a week, and I said, you know what? There's got to be a better way. There has got to be a way that life is meant to be, and I want to go out there and search it. So I started looking. I found podcasts. I found books. I found Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I found Think and Grow Rich, and my mind was changed. I knew that there had to be a better way to financial freedom. So I found real estate. I started wholesaling back in 2018. Got my first deal. I had $5,000 in my account. That's it. That's all I had left. And I threw a Hail Mary. I threw a Hail Mary. I got my first deal. I got 20 grand out of my first deal. Funny enough, I had 20 grand in debt. So, right, I was able to pay it off, but then I'm back at zero with now like 2 grand in the account. Now, thankfully, because of the marketing that I did, I think I spent $3,000 towards marketing. I was able to find another deal, and that deal got me another 30,000. Luckily, the first year I was able to bring in close to around $150,000 worth of revenue, $1 million plus of real estate volume that was moved that first year. So that was my first year in business, and then after then it's just been up and downs, and now we're just on a continuous upward trend with my wonderful team. A lot of my team is here today, so thank you so much, guys, for being here. So let's go ahead and keep going. Team of 10 now. We're not 4 now. We have about 10 people. We have lead managers, we have acquisition agents, we have dispo, we have transaction coordination, we have everything. So everything's completely streamlined, everything's delegated, and different people do different things in the business now. I have some recordings where I successfully negotiate for tens of thousands of dollars. I'm going to be putting all that together on a website here pretty soon, and I'm going to be offering it to people that want to listen to this, how I negotiated. It's all about getting into the emotional mind. I'm going to speak about this here in a second. So you get into the emotional mind and you're able to negotiate, and price is really not an issue at all. So this is what we're talking about. So the big question answer: how can I consistently find deals? Talking to people without understanding a sales funnel, understanding KPIs. On average, it takes 8 conversations to close a deal. So that's just statistically speaking. Sometimes it takes longer, other times it takes less, but that's just on a good average. So whenever we're talking about real estate is a big transaction, right? So real estate is not something that's simple. It's something that it's a big life decision, right? So someone needs to decide to pick up all their stuff and then take it somewhere else. It's not something that you can just kind of negotiate and barter with right away. People need to consider all these things, and a lot of the times they haven't even considered those things. So it is your job, if you're going to be talking to someone, to understand what it is that they need so that they can sell you their property, and then they can have a successful move and be able to go somewhere else. So you need to bring all these questions up to light during the sales process so you can understand how to get them to that vision that they want, right? So every person has a vision of where they want to go, why they want to sell, right? So it's your job to find out what is that vision and where they want to go. What does that look like? What does perfection look like for them? And then on the flip side to it, what is their situation right now? And then what is their pain? What are they feeling? Why are they considering selling? These are the questions that will be able to allow you to dig deeper into the pain that someone has, to make sure that you can inject yourself as the solution, right? So let me go ahead and continue here. Okay, so what are we going to go over? KPIs, cold calling numbers, sales, 4 types of questions, and acquisitions, closing the deal. You guys ready? Let's go. Sales is a numbers game, right? It's all about numbers. You got to keep track of your KPIs. How many marketing pieces do you need to send out to get X contact rate? Out of the contacted people, how many are interested in selling? Out of the people that are interested in selling, how many offers did you send? Out of the offers that you send, how many convert into a contract? These are the things that you want to be tracking on a weekly basis so that you can figure out what you need to adjust. If you find out that your contact rate is low, then go look at your numbers. Maybe did you pull bad lists? Do you have bad skip tracing? If you are talking to 100 people and only maybe 100 people raised their hand and said they want to sell, but then only maybe like a small percentage of that, like less than 10%, are truly interested in having a conversation moving forward, maybe you need to look at your list and you're not pulling a motivated list. It could be that there's too many maybe owner occupied homes, right? So owner occupied homes are going to have people that are not really interested in selling. A lot of the times they just want to hear an offer. They're window shopping. They'll say, yes, give me an offer, but they're not really truly motivated in selling. So you're going to be wasting a lot of your time, right? Does that make sense? So it's really important that you look at your KPIs so you can look at what you have to adjust. With my team, a lot of them are in here, Bob, Yusuf, Omaima. What we do is we look at their KPIs so we can make sure that their sales process is dialed in, right? If it's not dialed in, then we can go in, listen to conversations, and be able to figure anything out during the sales process. This is a little example of cold calling. So cold calling KPIs, if you do 25,000 dials, you can expect to have a 10% contact rate. That's what you're looking for in cold calling. So you're looking for 2,065 contacted, 346 actual valid homeowners. So 16% are right phone numbers. And then we had 19 interested leads, so 5% of the valid leads. So valid means that we got the right number, right? So out of the 2,000 people contacted, 16% were right numbers, 346 people. And we want to track how many are right phone numbers, because now, one, we have the data of those people that are actual valid homeowners. So although we only had 19 people that are actually interested today, now we have the data of all 346 people that have said, yes, I am this person. No, I don't want to sell my house. But now they have verified that it's them. We verified that it's their phone number. We verified their address. And so what can we do with this data? I mean, what else can we possibly sell them, right? I think that Annie was in here and she sells insurance, that's 346 people that said no to selling their house, but have a house that we can sell them something else to, right? Now, I'm having a meeting next week with someone that sells solar. And so that's something that I'm going to now look into, right? Because I have the data, I have so many records of people that are actual valid homeowners. So let's see if maybe, they're interested in solar, maybe they're interested in insurance. But it's important to have this data as you're running your business, because you can't always think of just like, okay, I'm only going to do this one thing. You want to be able to do multiple things. If you already have the data and you're already having the conversation, maybe you can sell them different products or services that are going to benefit them as well. So only 19 people interested out of 20,000 dials. So the dollar made 20,000 dials and only 19 people were interested. So 0.00095%. Guys, if this doesn't reshape how you think about KPIs, I think this is super impactful to know this, right? To understand that you have to do a lot more effort. You have to create a lot more effort in order to get to where you want to go, a deal, right? Being able to get an off-market real estate deal. So let's go ahead and continue. All right, so the 4 types of questions. I love these questions because it allows me to really understand someone's situation. It allows me to understand the issues that they have. It allows me to make that problem real today so that they internalize the feelings that they're having about that pain, right? And then the need payoff allows me to inject myself in the solution. So in my opinion, sales is all about asking great questions and listening extremely well. If you can master those 2 skills, you can sell anything and you could have absolutely anything that you want. And this goes not only in negotiations, it goes in daily life, right? Just with a spouse or with your kids, with anything. If you go and you tell someone to do something, you say, hey, go do this. People are going to be like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not going to go do that, right? Because people don't react very well to that. But if you go and you ask a question and say, hey, out of these 2 options, which one would you rather do? Then you give the person the illusion of control, because you're still presenting 2 options that you still want, and the person needs to choose one or the other. So they choose option 1 and they go with option 1. And it's still something that you wanted, right? Because you're the one in control of the questions that are being asked. So this is really, really powerful stuff, guys. I really hope that you guys understand the power of asking great questions, because you could literally have anything you want. So let's go over this right here. Situation questions. So situation questions are there to establish professional rapport. What that means is you want to talk just really about it. This is related to real estate. So Mr. Seller, what is the condition of your roof? What is what does the inside of your house look like? Have you updated the floors? Blah, 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 blah. Just situational questions about the property, basically professional questions, just to establish a little bit of rapport, get to know the person, and be able to have that interaction go back and forth. Then you move on to problem questions. Problem questions, you ask them about, what's got you interested in selling? How long have you been thinking about selling? Can you tell me some more about that? And you want to dig deep, because it's never the first thing that people say. It's the question before the answer after 2 or 3 times that you ask what's really the reason that you're interested in selling, that's really the true reason. And maybe they'll say like, oh, I just wanted an offer. And then you keep on asking and you keep on building rapport, and you say, how long have you been thinking about something? Well, my kid, blah, blah, blah. And then they start telling you about maybe an issue that they have with a kid or with a spouse or whatever. But it's never going to be the first thing that they tell you. So you need to ask again to really understand the problem. Next, you have implication questions. Implication questions now are questions to make the problem real today, right? So a great question that I like to ask is, Mr. Seller, if you don't do anything at all, what is going to happen? What's going to happen? What's your life going to look like a year from now if you don't make any changes today? Are you ready for that? What's your life going to look like in 5 years? You're telling me that you have no help. You're telling me that you're here all alone. You're telling me that you don't have any money. What's going to happen in 5 years? Is this what you want your life to look like? And now you stretch your mind to think ahead in the future of what their life may look like if they don't take action today, right? So now it makes the problem real, and now they're willing to take action, right? Because now they're emotionally involved, and now they're invested in actually taking action today. Finally, we have the need payoff questions. The need payoff questions are the questions that you ask to inject yourself as a solution. So how do you inject yourself a solution? Mr. Seller, what would it mean to you if I could help you out? What would it mean to you if we erase that vision of what your life is going to look like in 5 years, and now we give you this that you told me that you wanted? Mr. Seller, you told me that you wanted to go live out in the countryside. You told me that you wanted to leave the city. What if I could help you get to the countryside today? You don't have to wait a year or 5 years or 10 years. What if I could do that for you today? What would that mean to you? And now what are you willing to do to make that happen? You reframe it, and now you make another question that's going to allow the seller or the individual to internalize everything, the entire situation, to take action today, right? So been talking here for a little bit by myself. How's everyone feeling? It's Bob. Listen to these gems. Yes, yes, yes. Does anyone have any questions so far? Any questions here in the chat? So I think we're live on Facebook. If there's anyone on Facebook there, you can go to my Instagram, and there is a link in my bio. You can click the link in the bio. You can join the Zoom webinar. When you join the Zoom webinar, we have a chat in here. You can ask questions. I'm going over sales and acquisitions, on how to negotiate for off-market deals. I'm going to be doing these on a weekly basis, and it's my goal to have a community where I'm pouring back to individuals that want to get started in real estate, that want to get their first deal. If anyone wants to learn more about it, I also want to have a more private community. If you guys are interested at all in having access to that private community, reach out to me, send me a message, send me a DM. I have a couple of people already registered, but I want to see how big this can get. And I want to pour back and help cut the curve of getting your first deal. A lot of the times when you're getting started, you don't know what you don't know. And I have a coach myself, and one of the main things that I learned from my coach was that it's a personal matter, but I learned that I have blind spots, and you're always going to have blind spots. Doesn't matter where you're at in business, right? I feel like everyone in life needs to have some sort of external vision that can allow you to, that can see your blind spots, point them out, and then help you overcome them, right? So that's the objective of building this community. So I want to help out people get their first deal, and by helping them see their blind spots. So if you're interested in joining a more private community, send me a DM, send me a message, and let's talk. So let's go ahead and continue here. So tonality. This is something that I feel like is not talked about enough, and it's really, really important. So really important. So there are different types of tonality. I think my team, I don't think I've mentioned this to like Yusuf and Omaima. I'm really glad they're here so that they can get a lot of value from this. So what is tonality? Okay, so there's different types of tonality. There's breaking rapport, neutral rapport, seeking rapport. Neutral rapport is best for the entire conversation with late night DJ voice, and then high energy first 10 seconds. So the first 10 seconds of any interaction with anyone is extremely important. I like to always, whether it's on the phone or in person, if it's with a friend, if it's with anyone, if I'm at an event, I like to just bring the energy and show up as the best, most authentic version of myself, right? I'm a fireball of energy, so I want to show up like that. So first 10 seconds of a call, when you're having a conversation with a homeowner, you show up and you say, "Hey, Mr. Homeowner, how you doing? Great to be here. My name's Josue Llanas. I'm a Texas Homes REI. Do you have a minute to talk?" Right? You want to bring in that super high energy. Let me break down these tonalities real quick. So breaking rapport is exactly what that means. You break rapport between you and other people. So think of breaking rapport as a downward inflection. And it's kind of like how cops talk to someone that like is running away, right? "Hey, stop right there." You hear the tonality, like it's very abrasive and it has a downward tonality. "Hey," right? It's like a downward inflection on the tonality. So it breaks rapport, right? And that's how you can think about it. It's breaking rapport. You never want to use that, by the way, in any conversation, unless someone is being aggressive. You can be aggressive with them back, but in a very stern fashion, not disrespectfully. Neutral rapport, the tonality there is just, think of like a monotone. You're not really going up and down with inflections. Kind of the tonality that I'm using right now. It's just, just pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward, doesn't change at all. Then seeking rapport. Seeking rapport is the tonality that a 5-year-old uses whenever they want to go and ask something from their parents. Hey, mom, can we go get some food at the store, with an upward inflection at the very end? That's seeking rapport, right? You don't want to use this tonality either, because it's the tonality that is going to repel people. It's going to push people away, and it's not going to make them feel like they want to talk to you. So the tonality that you want to use throughout the entire conversation is neutral rapport. Talk very clearly. And when it comes time to negotiate, the rapport that you want to use there, or the tonality that you want to use there, is a late night DJ voice, and you want to speak very slowly, just like this, when you're going to talk about numbers and you're going to talk about the terms of the agreement. Very, very slow. And you want to exaggerate it, just like I did there. It feels funny and it feels weird when you're on the phone with the seller and you start talking like that, because it's not very common that happens. So it takes a little bit of practice, but when you master it, you're able to take an otherwise abrasive conversation, and now it's a very calm and cool and collected conversation. And I had no idea how powerful this was. I learned this from Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And it is when the stakes are really high, you need to slow it down, and you need to bring your tone of voice very very low and mellow. And it makes people feel comfortable and safe and secure, and like they can really trust you when it comes time to negotiate and talk about numbers. So try it out. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, but it's worked for me. And I mean, Chris Voss talked about it during negotiations with kidnappers, right? It was a life or death situation. So if it works there, definitely works at the negotiation table. So try it out. 4 types of sellers. So there are 4 types of sellers. There's dominating, there's driving, aggressive. There is influential, emotional, super cool perspective. Thank you, Genta. Appreciate it. There's 4 types of people, right? This is called the DISC profile. So high Ds are very dominating, very driving, very aggressive people. They like to control the conversation. You want to let them know subtly that you're going to be in charge. The way that I do that is by preparing them at the very beginning of a conversation. I say, hey, Mr. Seller, my name's Joshua Llanes. I'm going to be talking about your property. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Is that okay? Because I need to make sure that I understand everything, especially by your house, before I make you my highest and best offer. So are you okay with me asking a lot of questions? Yes. Okay, great. Let's continue. If they say no, then I say, well, my offer is going to be really low then. And I mean, if you're okay with that, I mean, we can continue, but I don't think it's in your best interest. And typically that's taking a step back. That's called going negative, right? And normally in that scenario, I'd say 80% of the time it works. The 20% of the time that it doesn't work is because that person's truly not motivated and they don't want to do business with you. So move on. Move on to someone that actually is willing to go through the sales process because they're actually motivated with what you have to offer them. Okay. Don't spend your time on someone that doesn't care about what you have to offer. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So that's dominating. They're social butterflies. I's are people that love to talk. They love to have friends. They ask them about how they feel about you, help them out. If you know that someone is a social butterfly, it's all about emotions with them, right? So you want to ask them, what is it going to feel like if I can help you out through this? What is it going to feel like when I get you to where you want to go? What's that going to feel like for you? How does that make you feel? These questions allow people. Yusuf, please talk more about how to go negative. I believe the next slide will be on. If it's not at the end of the slides, I'll dig into that, Yusuf. How does that make you feel? So that's S, stable, easygoing, chill, but they're very cautious, right? So because they're so stable, it takes them time to like make a decision. So it's not going to be something that you can, these are people that are going to need a lot of follow-up, right? You're going to have to touch base with them, talk to them, be able to understand their situation more. They have to get to know you so that they can feel comfortable with you, right? So they're very stable people. So it takes a little bit longer to build the rapport, build the confidence, to get them to the point where they're willing to move forward and actually sell you their house. So C is cautious and analytical. May want to speak to attorney, make a very logical explanation on numbers, and follow-up needs to be strong. So with cautious and analytical people, what you want to do with them is break down the numbers and tell them, hey, listen, this is the price that I'm going to be able to sell it at. This is all the fees, the closing costs, the realtor costs, the holding costs. I'm going to have to pay utilities. I'm going to have to pay insurance. I'm going to have to pay taxes. I'm going to have to pay. You want to break down line item by line item, everything that is part of your cost, because analytical people need to understand why you're making them this offer and why it's a lot lower than maybe the expectation that they had in their mind. So if you make them a very logical explanation of the numbers, you break everything down. I'm going to pay for lender fees. and my lender charges me an underwriting fee, they charge me interest, and they charge me points. So let me break those down for you. And then you break everything down. The more you can break down your costs, the more that the analytical person is going to understand that the offer and where you're coming from. And then the more willing that they're going to be able to give you a better deal. They may not meet you exactly at the number that you want, but at least it'll get the conversation going so that you can maybe do something creative like innovation or an owner finance deal subject to something differently. But this is kind of where you get the conversation started to go that way. So this is the format of a call. This is, okay. The format of a call is introduction, who you are, why you are calling, timeline, acceptable outcomes. So I expect my team to start every conversation with this exact introduction. So I want them to present themselves and say, hey, this is Josue Llanas. I'm calling about your property on 123 Main Street. Then you say the timeline. This call is going to take 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. You want to tell them about at least 5 to 10 minutes so that if people are busy, maybe they're walking into church, maybe they're walking into their job, maybe they're walking into a meeting. I want them to understand that they're about to have a 10-minute conversation. And I would rather they tell me, hey, I don't have time to have 10 minutes. Okay, no problem. When is a good time for me to follow up? Because I want to make sure that I have your undivided attention. Oh, tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Okay, good. I'll call you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. No problem. And then finally, you get to acceptable outcomes. Acceptable outcomes are taking the sales pressure away from the homeowner or your sales prospect. Let's say they know that you're going to make them an offer. So a lot of the times people put up a wall, put up a barrier, or if you're selling something differently, like Genta, I think you're in here. So if someone is selling something differently, you can relieve the sales process by saying at the very beginning, hey, listen, I have this to offer you. If you like it, we can do business. And if you don't like it, feel free to tell me no. It's not a big deal. Okay. So just tell me no, and the sky is not going to fall. I have several calls after this. If it's not you, I'm probably going to go help someone else out. So when you tell someone, when you give someone the right to say no, it relieves a lot of sales pressure because now they feel like easygoing, like they don't have to 100% commit to what you have to say. And it lowers down that wall that is there at the beginning of any conversation. So then you want to establish professional rapport. That's the situation questions, find pain and motivation. Then you inject yourself a solution, you find deal killers, you make an offer, you negotiate, and you close the deal. And then after you negotiate the deal, this is another thing that's very important that I didn't do for a long time and cost me a lot of deals. I would close the deal and then I was like, oh, I'm good. I would send them the contract and then radio silence. What the hell's going on? So I go and I listen back to my calls and I noticed that there was some hesitation that I didn't catch. At the very end, after you've negotiated something, ask them the question, hey, is there anything that may prevent you from closing this house right now? Because I'm committed to you. I just want to make sure that we already covered all of our bases, and we went through the whole process. I asked you other questions, but I just want to make sure, is there anything that may prevent you from selling your property in 30 days from now, in 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is? No? Okay, great. Awesome. I'm sending you the contract. I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes. Please sign it and we'll go through it. So that's the format. So introduction, I've already gone through this a couple of times. So if you guys need me to stop it and do it again, let me know, but I'm just going to skip it because I already went through it. Establishing professional rapport. So situation questions, are tax records accurate? Bed, bath, square foot, how old is the roof? Is your kitchen updated? You want to create a visual image of the house and create rapport in the process. And you want to be relatable, right? You want to listen and ask questions. Finding pain and motivations, problem questions, and implication questions. What has you interested in selling? How long have you been thinking about selling? Can you tell me more about that? Is there anything about your current situation you don't like? Does that mean you're completely happy with your current situation? Have you experienced any problems? Which of these concerns you more? If you could change one thing, what could it be? All these questions, gold. Ask them, and you will find out so much about an individual. You'd be surprised. Let's see. Going negative. Yusuf, this is your point right here. So going negative. I love this. I love this sales tactic. It's so powerful. And I think the best way for me to explain it is on a whiteboard. So actually, let me see if I can, might be able to move my stuff around here. Got a couple cables. Hope I don't disconnect anything. There we go. Love this. All right. Got a little whiteboard now. I'm at my office. So you want to think about going negative as staying one step behind the prospect. And I learned this from John Martinez, great sales guy. This is super valuable information. So think about it like this. Maybe a little, let me bring it back a little bit so you guys can see it. Okay. So there's a positive, there's neutral, and there's negative. So essentially what you want is if someone is, think about it like this right here. Someone is very, very positive, and then this is going to be positive. This is going to be just neutral. Then we have negative and double negative. If your prospect in sales, we're talking about sales. If your prospect is extremely positive about your product and service, I think Karis raised her hand. Can you stop sharing the, oh, can we stop sharing? Yes, I will stop sharing. Okay. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So yes, that's better. Okay. Okay, so I'm talking about sales processes right now. So if someone is very, very positive about your product and service, then what you want to do is you want to stay one step behind them. So what that means is if someone's extremely positive, then you want to just be positive, right? If someone is positive, then you want to be neutral. So what does that mean? Let's say someone is positive and they say, hey, yeah, I'm interested about your product and service. I would like to find out more about it. What I would say is like, okay, great, no problem. Let me know when's a good time. And you always don't want to like, you want to be right underneath their enthusiasm so that it's not you chasing them, it's them chasing you, right? And you always want to keep that sort of dynamic in sales so that you can make sure you get to the end of the line where you can actually close the deal. So that's extremely, extremely important. If someone is neutral, you want to go negative with a prospect. So let's say the seller says something like, oh, if the seller is neutral and they're like, yeah, it's okay if I sell my house or not. I mean, it's not a big deal. You can say something like, okay, well, I don't have to buy your house. It's not a big deal. I'll probably just go buy your neighbor's house, right? If you can't see in a full screen, you can pull or slide the screen to the left. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying there, Yusuf. So the seller is neutral and they say, yeah, I mean, make me an offer, or maybe they say something along the lines of that. Then you can say, well, I don't have to buy your house. It's not really that big of a deal. If I don't buy your house, no big deal. If you go from negative, if they are negative, then you want to be even more negative. So if someone says, hey, I don't want to sell you, I don't want to sell you my house, you already lost the deal. So just say, hey, that's fine. I'm probably not your best fit either way. So maybe I'll just go talk to your neighbor, right? And you want to pull back even more, because have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to do something, you're trying to chase someone, and the more that you try, the harder that you try to go and talk to them and maybe make the sale, or whatever it is, even like in any relationship, whether it's friends or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, the more that you chase, the more that you repel. So it's extremely important to understand that dynamic and not be in a position of chasing but attracting, right? And if you have so much offer to value and someone is realizing that, then it's not about chasing, it's about attracting, right? So this is how you do it. You want to stay always one step behind. So that is the going negative part. Is this clear for everyone? I want to make sure we have about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to have some time for a Q&A here in a little bit. But for everyone that's watching, is all of this clear? Are you guys getting the full gist of it? You guys can go on the chat real quick. Let me know. That's deep, Bob. It is. It's very deep. 100%. Yes. Yes. Thumbs up. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna move this back. My lighting's better here. I love these little rolling desks. It's amazing. Okay, let me go share my screen again. And guys, if I don't finish today, that's gonna be okay. I may just end it here because we have 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure that I answer any questions. I'm going to be doing this Zoom webinar every Friday. So if I don't finish it today, it's not a big deal. We could always continue together next Friday, but I'll look into, let's see how many more. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got a couple more. So I don't think we're going to have enough time to go through it all. I can kind of run through it. And then next week, what I'll do is I'll go deeper into all these things and maybe give some more, some better questions to ask. So inject yourself as a solution. Let's see. Jalen Hill, what is the best approach to building systems and procedures in a new wholesaling business with little to no capital? What is the best approach to, let's go ahead and do the Q&A now, guys. I'm gonna stop sharing. I want to make sure that I answer you guys' questions and I help you guys out. Okay, what is the best approach to building systems and procedures in a new wholesaling business with little to no capital? I would say Google Drive. Google Drive is free. I mean, you can set up a Google Workspace account, and it's probably like, you go and you register a domain's $6, and then or $12 for the year. And then your custom email is going to be $6. By the way, I've been in various situations sometimes where maybe I submit an offer to like a commercial owner, and they see my Gmail, and it's almost like they don't take me seriously. So at the very beginning, it's so easy to get your own custom domain. Go out and do it. It makes you seem so much more professional when you send emails from your custom domain. And it could be anything that you want. It could be your name. It could be your company name. It could be anything. So Google Drive, I would go to Tim Francis Profit Factory. Profit Factory is a website, and he literally gives you a download of a template of how to create some systems and some processes at the very beginning, and it's practically free. I mean, you can do it on Google Drive. So I'm still having all of my processes on Google Drive today, because it works so well for my team. Jalen Hill, absolutely. Tyler Silver was asking on the live chat on Facebook to explain the part of going negative again. Okay, I'm gonna go through the going negative next week again, and I'll go a lot deeper into that. And I'll maybe even have like a little more presentation, maybe some videos, maybe some more visuals to explain that next week. So Tyler, if you want to listen to the going negative part, make sure you tune in next Friday, and I think you'll get a lot of value from that. Okay, Allah, how to use emotional more than facts. The way that you use, when we're talking about emotional, I'm guessing that you're talking about how to get someone more into an emotional mind. The way you do that is by asking, how do you feel? So if you want to get someone more emotional, and when I say emotional, I'm not talking about like being emotional or being sad or upset or anything like that. I'm talking about getting into an emotional mind where they're feeling their current situation and feeling where they want to go. So you do that by asking questions. What is it going to feel like when you get to XYZ? There's two parts to this. There's where someone wants to go and where someone is today. So you ask questions about where they're at today, and you ask questions about where they want to go. What does it feel like right now to be in this current scenario? What does it feel like to know that? What does it feel like to know that you're behind on your taxes? And what's it feel like that the county might come and get your house any day? I mean, how does that make you feel? And I know it sounds a little harsh, but if you don't make those questions, people go all the way down to the finish line and they lose their house because they never internalized these emotions. And so it is your duty to help them internalize their emotions so that they can take action and they can do something about their lives instead of just losing their house and be left with nothing. If you're there to help them out, you can at least put some money in their pocket. You can help them move to somewhere else. This is what it means to ask these questions. Jalen Hill and Allah, hopefully that answered your question. If not, we can dig into it a little bit deeper later. Jalen Hill asking the right questions in real estate. How do you and where do the questions come from? Is there someone or a book or podcast that you frequently visit? It's a two-part question. Thanks again. Where do they come from? At this point, it comes from experience, Jalen. I don't think it happened overnight, but I did purchase a lot of different sales courses. I purchased a lot of so I read a lot of sales books. But the sales books that I recommend, where I get a lot of my knowledge from, are Spin Selling. Spin Selling is an incredible book, and it has a ton of questions in there that you can ask to inject yourself a solution. A lot of questions in there to make the implication questions bigger, to make the problems bigger for the prospect. And then they also have like a workbook, like a companion workbook that I bought, and it has like all these different questions and prompts that you can do to write down the questions that you can ask your prospects. So I recommend Spin Selling and the Spin Selling workbook. I think those two were probably where a lot of the questions, and I formulated a lot of the questions and I wrote them down and I created a cheat sheet and I give them to my team, and then they go out and they ask all these questions and they negotiate and they get deals. So Spin Selling. Let's see. Vision beyond the circumstance is what I'm hearing, helping them see a better future. Yes, Genta, that's 100% correct. A lot of the times people don't understand where they're at right now, and you have to get it out of them. You have to get out the vision, because a lot of times people don't have a vision of anything beyond their current circumstance. So ask them questions about what they want out of life. What are their goals? What are they trying to accomplish? What does their ideal life look like? If money were not an issue, where would you go? Blah, blah, blah. Get the vision out of them so that you can help them get to that vision. If you help someone get to their vision, price is not an issue at all. It's never going to be an issue. Christina, do you offer one-on-one coaching to get more detail on a sales process? Yeah. So if you want more coaching and more information on anything that I spoke about, reach out to me. I think one-on-one coaching would be way too expensive to most people that are getting started. They probably don't have a lot of money. So I'm creating a smaller community that's extremely affordable to everyone. Anyone can join, and I want to be able to help people get to getting their first deal, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then be able to help people create a business, right? Because it's not about just jumping from starting and then creating a business right away. Sure, you want to have maybe your LLC, or you want to have your processes, you want to be legal and compliant, but you don't want to scale too quickly. You want to do it systematically and methodically.